how many know that when you have a purpose and a calling on your life, there's nothing that nobody, and nothing can happen? I am Angela C. Wright.
Over the top, the gotcha.
Oh, he said your numbers has shrunk. He said, I don't know how, why.
You're not gonna get like, you're gonna have to have mounds of security for me because you're not gonna get me.
If I wasn't depressed and going through what I was going through, I probably would have never started.
Welcome to another episode of Break Free Podcast with your girl Free. And today I have the lovely Suzette The Realtor.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, baby, you looking good?
You looking good, too. We got the legs out, boots out. Okay.
Oh, we outside. But don't get no ideas because we ain't thinking about y'all.
At all.
How you doing today?
I am doing good. Listen, I have to compliment you on your set. Like, this is dope. I've been free, but this is making me feel like I just got free.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
Like,
So the energy, the spirit,
energy,
you feel it, the
good.
colors.
It's good.
Shout out
we
to
kind of
Xavier.
matching a little bit.
Yeah, we
know,
are.
we
We hit
here.
sync. Yeah, we outside. Oh, real recognize real.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to get into your story. She had to die.
Don't forget to die.
In order to become her.
Definitely.
And she is her and her is she?
She's her, she. I like that.
So let's just jump into it. Like,
it's a lot of jumping.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of jumping. So you had like a traumaful upbringing.
Yes.
You was born and raised in New York.
Yes, I was born and raised in New York. I'm from Trinidad, so I was conceived in Trinidad. My mom came out here, and my life just got crazy after I got raped. And then my mom put me in a system, and then the rest is history. Life started lifing.
Yeah, so let's take you back to that moment when you like when you were raped, when you were violated. Like, how old were you?
I was 15.
15. Was it someone you knew?
So it wasn't somebody I knew personally. It was somebody on the block. And just back then I was real arrogant, and it was actually a friend of mine's boyfriend. So it was more so for retaliation. He felt I had something to do with her cheating on him.
How did he feel like you had something to do with her cheating on him?
Because I was the tomboy. I was the girl around the way. I was always around the guys. Like, I was the girl that people would go to, like, girl, who he talking to or what he doing? I was into women back then, so I was just always around men. And she cheated with one of my homeboys, but I really had nothing to do with that, But that's what ended up happening the night of the blackout when New York City just went black. I was actually outside looking for my brothers and sisters. And I was pretty much outside all night. We had no power, and that's pretty much the night that it happened.
And what was that like for you?
It was real traumatizing. It was traumatizing because, for one, I was not into men. So I was a full lesbian. I was dating women. So it was traumatizing in the sexual sense, but it was also traumatizing because after that, I felt like I lost a piece of my identity. And I was just vengeful. Like, I wanted revenge on men, but I didn't know how. So that's what actually sparked my lifestyle later on, which we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot to deal with.
And did you tell anybody?
No. He threatened that if I did tell somebody, he was going to kill my mother, my brother, and my sister. I was going to school downtown. It was in the Bronx, so this happened in the Bronx. I was going to school downtown, so my brother and sister would walk home by themselves, and I would meet them home. So it was just to the point I didn't want nothing to happen to nobody, and it was just something I dealt with. So ideally, when you deal with that type of secret on your own and you're not talking to your family and you're not talking to friends and you have nobody, it changes how you act. As a child,
that's what I was
going to
say. Like, a lot of times we know that when someone is sexually assaulted, even if it's someone that they know, molestation, rape, however it goes, mostly the predator, will say, oh, if you tell anything, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt your family. So they have to carry that secret, that guilt. And then, like, did it make you feel shameful, like as if it was something wrong with you?
You want to know what's so crazy? I didn't go through any internal feelings about myself. It made me hate my mom.
Talk about that. Like, why hate your mom?
So the only reason I was outside to begin with was because, so we had no power, so there was no cell phones, but we had a landline. So I called home, and my mom was like, your brother and sister is not here. So basically, they never came home from school. So that's the only reason I was outside, to look for them, but come to find out they was home in bed the whole time. She never checked the room.
Oh, wow.
So I blamed her for that night, and then even more so after that happened to me, I laid next to her, and she couldn't sense like something was different or something was wrong.
Do you think you acted different though?
Oh yeah.
Like looking back, do you think there was a way that she could have?
Listen, when my daughter come home from school and have a bad day, I'm in tune with her, so I know when she has a bad day. My mom just wasn't in tune with me. She just, we didn't have, and I didn't really understand until my father found me at 16. That's another story. But we just didn't have that relationship. We didn't have that bond. So it was just like, okay, this traumatic thing happened to me. I laid next to you right after that. Like, you didn't feel me crying in my sleep. You didn't sense my energy. You didn't feel that something was wrong. Just, just as a mom, as a nurturer, So that changed how I viewed her.
I just want to tell you that I am sorry that happened to you, and I'm sorry also, like, not only did you have to experience that, but you had to experience it by yourself. And then going forward, even growing up and becoming a woman, figuring out everything, on your own after that. So I really do, my heart goes out to you, and I'm thankful that you're able today to even talk about it and to help other women, because believe it or not, somebody right now, when they see this, have either went through the same thing or will go through the same thing. You get what I'm saying?
And even as parents, like, a lot of times we're, and this is not to say she was a bad parent. She was a single parent. It was 3 of us. I was the oldest. She was working 2 jobs. She was in school. So it was like she barely had time for herself. We from a whole nother country, trying to, adjust in a whole nother country with no family, no friends. So that's not even to say she's a bad mom. And this is something I went through as a mom also. Like, we get so caught up in the external pressures of being a mom, of being a provider, of paying the bills, and making sure everything is good, that oftentimes we're not paying attention to our child. And I've made that same mistake.
Right, yeah,
So, it's definitely not to take away from her character. Mom, I love you. But, it is my story.
Yeah, so y'all were able to get past that. Did you ever tell her?
Girl, me and my mom relationship still struggling.
It does?
It's still struggling.
Yeah.
We're actually not talking right now.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't tell her until recently. I probably told her maybe about, my daughter is 16. I probably told her when my daughter was maybe about 9 or 10.
Wow.
So this was a weight that I've carried for a while, but it didn't make me angry, and I wasn't bitter. I was just always one of them kids or one of them teens that, because my family was already doubting me anyway, like, oh, you're never gonna be nothing, or you're this or that. That's not something that stagnated my growth. That did make me hate men more. Like, it made me, and even just in my sexuality, I was attracted to studs. So the women that dress masculine, because I wanted that presence of a man, but because of what happened to me, I didn't want to be sexual with a man.
Right.
So I felt like dating a stud was kind of like the best of both worlds. They got the aura, they got the demeanor of a man, but when it comes to the sex, they're a female.
Yeah.
So, it didn't make me bitter. It just, once I fully grew into my confidence and who I was, it was game time.
It was game time.
Every man had to pay.
Uh-oh. All right. Okay. She just made my mouth open. Yeah, so like it was like your feelings wasn't involved. You just like, it is what it is.
Listen, I was, and I just gotta take a moment to thank God, the Lord Jesus Christ, because I was angry, but I was heartless. It wasn't a bitter anger. It was a no feeling left, emotionless anger.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, honey, you look like what you've been through, okay?
Girl, I know. That's the power of the blood.
Yes, the grace of God.
Yes,
But
honey.
you still was able to go on and you went to school. Tell me about that, because you was emancipated, right? At how old?
Well, I only went to school because I was looking at 3 to 5 years in prison.
Okay.
So when I went to school, it was more so my lawyer was like, listen, we got to show this judge that, you're doing something positive with your life during this case. So rewind. Let me tell you why I was looking at prison time. I ain't do it, but you know, I was being in a group home. I grew an attraction for street dudes.
Right.
But I actually, so this is my oldest daughter's father. So me and him met dealing with the same female.
Okay.
So remember, I was into girls. I wasn't into guys.
Right.
But, you know, we had a threesome because that was her guy and me and her was together. So it was just something that we did. But that's how I got put into the streets. So, you know, I'm in the group home. I forgot what the website was. I think back then it was like local hookups or something like that. And me and her was talking and she was like, yo, you know, come to the Bronx. My group home was in the city, flew out, got on a train, met up with her and he was there. So, you know, she was this private dancer. And she would do like a lot of underground parties, a lot of stripper parties, but she wasn't in the clubs. It was just private parties.
Did you dance?
No, I never danced. So, so I started going with her to her parties, but because we were a thing, we would like kiss and make out, and the men would go crazy.
Right, of course they would.
I'm talking about, I'm 17 in the group home. Never seen no real money. I'm fresh my mama house, strict mama at that, Caribbean mama at that. Was no hair, eyebrows, none of that, right? No allowance, none of that. So we making out. We just doing us. This is what we do at home.
Yeah.
Right? And they just start throwing money at us. So that was my introduction
to money.
To that life.
To that lifestyle.
So next thing you know, I done left the group home, moved in with them. We're
a family.
We're going, right, we're a family. We're going from party to party and we're just making so much money just being us.
Right.
Like just making out, just having fun. And then I got pregnant.
Wow.
After being told I couldn't have kids after I was raped.
Oh, they had told you that.
Yeah. So after I was raped, I had to get a surgery that removed part of my cervix. So they told me that my cervix wouldn't be strong enough to hold a baby.
But look
so
at
not
God.
that I would have complications getting pregnant, but you know how you don't start dilating until you 10 months and the baby cooked and ready to come out? Both my pregnancies, even though I carried my babies full term, both my pregnancies, I started dilating at 4 or 5 months. So, but they told me that when I was younger. But, so yeah, I found that I was pregnant.
And was in trouble facing. How did the case come about?
So the case came about after I had the baby. Because I was in the system, you know, we get first priority with everything, housing, school, free school. So I got my first project apartment, moved him in. He was in the streets heavy, so I was kind of following his lead, helping him take care of. So I didn't even know. This is how green I was, y'all, that he was a pimp.
Oh my God, the plot thickens.
But I thought, so security guard was the term. But once I had the baby and it was just like, okay, now I'm under his complete authority. I'm not working. You know, I'm a first-time parent. I'm in therapy, you know, trying to just get through the things that I got.
You went to therapy back then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I had to, not so much therapy, I had to go to parenting classes because when I had my daughter, I didn't love her.
Oh, okay.
Like, again, out my
rejection,
heart. Not so much the rejection, just I was just cold-blooded person. Like, I ain't even love myself. But I knew the cycle had to stop. And that's actually the time that's when me and my mother started talking because I was actually on my way to the hospital about to miscarry because he had beat me. So that started our relationship because the whole time I was in the system, I didn't talk to her. I'm just like, dang. So you don't try to put me in therapy. You don't try to talk to me. You don't try to find out what's wrong with me. Like,
go to the system.
Because she took me to court and just told the judge, take her.
Did she feel like you was out of control?
Yeah,
she couldn't control you?
She did.
Looking back, do you feel like you was out of control?
No.
No?
I wasn't out of control. I was cutting school to go sit on a graveyard that I thought was my father's because she had me thinking my father was dead my whole life. So with her she didn't know I was gay. She found that I was gay. So it was a lot for her that she found that at one time. And, you know, religion and all of that. Oh, you can't do that in my house. Like, get out. And it's just like,
so
can we have a conversation? Like, and how she did it was cold. How she did it was cold. I'm like about to walk out the door, about to go to school. And she like, where you going? I'm like, school. She like, no, you ain't. We going to court. I'm like, court? And then when we get there, the judge takes me, and that was my last time seeing her.
Oh, wow.
For a couple of years. So, yeah. By choice, because she wanted to be a part of the process, and I just was like, nah, you put me in here. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I'm good. Like, let me. But that was the transformation point in my life because she was a very verbally abusive parent. She would say things like, I'm gonna send you to the group home so they could rape you, and I wish I would have had an abortion, just things like that, right? But when I got to the group home, it was the opposite of everything she tried to scare me into, right? I went to a very loving group home. That's how I learned how to hustle. So that's why I'm the hustler I am today. That was my foundation. Because everything you did, you got paid.
Yeah.
So if we in a group home together, and I'm like, girl, let me braid your hair, I'm getting paid for that based on how many hours I sat and braided your hair. If I washed dishes, I got paid for it. And then they would always take a part of our allowance and put it to the side, so when we got 18, we had savings. So I had my first apartment.
You was in a good.
I was in a good group home.
Yeah.
So even though I was angry, at this point I'm bitter because I'm watching her be a mom to my brother and sister, and I'm here.
Right.
So now I'm bitter. But I still was having fun. That's when I went crazy. Started getting the tattoos and everything she said I couldn't do in her house, I was doing.
So you felt like you was grown.
I was grown, girl. I had curfew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to my girlfriend's house. Yeah. Like everything she said I couldn't do, I was doing it.
So you felt like life was fun.
Yeah, I felt like, okay, I could get used to this. And, I still was maintaining my grades. I was playing basketball. I had a scholarship to go to college until I got pregnant. So I was actually happier, if I must say, in the system. And I did have a chance to, because it was really only supposed to be a 3-month thing where they evaluate your behavior, make you see a whole bunch of therapists and all types, because I basically tried to kill my mom. So she was scared. I left that part out.
Wait a minute. I asked you, I said, do you feel like you was out of control? You told me no.
No, so that happened after the rape.
After she had put you out?
No, after the rape. I wasn't out of control. So literally, I got raped and she put me out in the same month.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have time to process what really happened to me. And then it's like you walking around saying these things. I should put you in a group home so you could get raped.
And I've been raped.
I should have had an abortion. And it was just like.
How did you try to kill her? Like, what happened?
I used to put rat poison in her food.
You did what?
Listen, it was her or me. I used to get beat real bad. It's a lot that she burnt me with irons that I have to look at these marks every day for the rest of my life. So yeah, it was just one of them situations. I wasn't a bad kid, but
how did you know to put rat? How old was you? How did you know that?
15, 14.
How did you know that rat poison could kill somebody?
If it killed the mice, what you think it's gonna do to a human? We both living things, right? I didn't know. I was just trying to
hurt her.
Like I was just trying to get her. Like we know West Indian parents is crazy. And then as life happened, I learned a little bit about her story. Like her mom abandoned her, so she didn't know how to be a mom and certain things like that. But when you're in the moment as a child and you have nobody, and all right, let me paint the timeline for y'all. My father found me on Facebook.
The one that she told you was dead.
I was raped and got put out. All like back to back. What child would have been good?
Right. Because you didn't even know how to channel any of those emotions.
It was like when one thing happened, something else happened.
Were you ever angry with God?
Yeah. Oh, girl. If you even said God's name around me, you was getting cursed out.
Because you felt like God didn't exist.
It ain't even God didn't exist. She was a Christian, and we was in church 2-3 times a week, and this is how she was acting at home. So it actually pulled me away from the church. Like, oh, this is what y'all got.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need God. If this is how he run his people or help his people, I'm good. But yeah, I was angry with God up until 2019, baby, until I got delivered.
So okay, we'll get to that. But it's just so much to unpack. Y'all know, honestly, I feel like this needs to be a part 2 because I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know this is a lot to unpack.
I'm trying to make my book into a movie. Like I feel
let's change that right now.
I'm gonna make my book.
My book into a movie. Yeah, and I have the perfect manager for you. Yes, I do. So
I got some water. Hold on, my throat dry.
Yeah, but so that was a lot. So you found out he was a pimp, and before then he was beating you. So You go from your mom jumping on you to the dude that you think you love and you think he love you to him jumping on you.
Oh, it was never love. We ain't gonna confuse the situation.
It was money, comfortable, stability.
I was into her.
Oh, so okay, so you
he was
being into
he was
her.
a part of. He was just a package deal.
Yeah, so
this
you
is
being
what
into
she
her.
wanted. So this is what we did.
Okay. So it wasn't like you really cared about him.
I was okie doked into, like, I'm in a group home. So he was 29, I was 17. I don't even remember how old she was.
Statutory rape, but go ahead.
Don't do that.
29, 17.
17, 18. But, you know, so it was manipulation. But I can't even put that on him or her because I knew what it was.
Yeah.
Once I seen the money, it was like, I'm gonna do everything my mother told me I couldn't do. Like, you know, it became the fuel. Like, I'm gonna get my own place. I'm gonna be independent. It just opened me up to a world that I didn't know exist because I was sheltered at home. It was church, school, basketball. That's all I knew.
I always say that, like, I was raised in a Christian home, right? And I always say that sometimes kids who go away to college, that when they get there, they get buck wild because they're so, you know, so chained down. So I thank God that my family, even though I was raised in a Christian home, like we were allowed to do certain things. And then see, my mom used to sneak anyway too, because like my dad didn't really like us to be into secular music. You know, he's a pastor. And he was just trying to raise this in the 80s, you know. So, but my mom, when he wasn't home, she'd turn Video Soul on for us. You know what I mean? So we get to see like the videos and everything.
Live a little bit till daddy
come home. And she'd change the radio station when we in the car. You know, he's not in the car. So I was able to see some of what the world is. I feel like as Christians, as believers, not even just saying Christians, as believers, I don't feel like that we should necessarily try to keep the world so much away from our children, that they need to know and need to have balance. They need to know what it is, because if not, when they get a taste of it, they're going to be buck wild.
Oh, yeah, and that's the number one trick of the enemy, y'all.
It really is a trick of the enemy. So when did you start realizing, like, I'm better than this? There's more to life.
Recently.
Wow.
No, but so, all right. So I had my first real encounter with God. So I went through all of that. So I didn't even really answer your question about the school thing, right? So he was a part of a multi-million-dollar money laundering scheme, and he was giving me money orders in the form of child support that I was cashing. So
Did
that's
you know
how
he was scheming?
No, I didn't know. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm like 20. He's just like, here. I know he in the streets, but I wasn't questioning it. So, but I'm glad that happened, because my judge, shout out to you. I know you retired by now, but shout out to her, because that's what kept me on the straight and narrow. It was it's different when the state is not recommending you be remanded, but the judge is like, no, I'm gonna remand her. Like, they was trying to send me home. The judge was like, no, you're going to jail. Okay? And it was really because she had a daughter that got killed based on the boyfriend's involvement. So anytime she got cases in her courtroom that involved a female there because of a male, or if she was gay, a female, she's like, I would rather send you to jail than you turn up dead.
Right.
So it was that lesson that I did go to jail.
How long did you do?
Girl, 3 days. Okay, well, I'm too cute for jail, y'all. No, but so all of this is around the time I found my dad, because then I found out that his brother, which is my uncle, is in America, and he has a stake ownership in Colgate.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm living in poverty and ain't got to live like this. So he ended up putting up his house and all of that for collateral to set my bail. So I was really on bail for 3 years fighting this case. I fought the case for 3 years. So in that time, and I had a public defender.
Sometimes the public defender is better than the
he rolled for me.
Yeah.
He rolled
Shout out
for
to
me.
him.
But you got to read my book to find out how I really got off. I don't want to put that on recording because I don't know the statute of limitation on certain things, and I don't know if he might be watching. Hey, district attorney. But y'all got to read my book to find out how I got off. Yeah. But I got off, no record. So I have no record.
That's
so that situation is not hindering me from, I'm licensed, I'm a realtor and whatever. But yeah, that was one of the toughest lessons in life. And she gave me this long speech right before she sentenced me. And I was like, Lord, she about to send me to jail, because that was the 3 to 5 thing. Okay, you could be facing 3 to 5 years. We took it to trial. Like, we went to trial, and I had a public defender. And
you served 3 days.
I went to jail for 3 days. My uncle, who was my father's brother, posted his collateral and everything for me to get out on bail. And I went to college, got my degree.
What did you get a degree in?
Psychology, girl.
Okay.
So that's what's so crazy. So my first job was the group home that I ended up getting pregnant in. That was my first job. So they seen how much of an influence I had on the teens. So I did an internship, and then they just started paying me off the books. So that's what started my path onto being like a case manager. Like I was in that field for a little while.
Oh, definitely outreach, because you had something to give back to.
Yeah, because I knew. So me being in the system, I didn't have family. You have some people that they went home to their family on weekends, because we would get like weekend passes and stuff like that, but I didn't have that.
Right.
So my family was the staff. My family was the people there that embraced me, that loved on me. So I vowed, like, listen, when I get older, I'm going to make a difference in the lives of those kids, because I encountered people that were just like, oh my God, lady, like, just go home. When is the next shift coming on? But then what made the process dope was I had people that really believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So I said,
I know they're proud of you.
Girl, I still be getting DMs like, girl, remember me from Marion Hall?
Yeah.
You doing that? Shout out to Marion Hall.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, so listen, we be here talking all day, girl.
And then, so let's try to move forward some.
Okay.
So how did you get into, what made you want to get surgery?
All right, so I'm going to put this out there. Everybody that gets surgery is not insecure, does not have insecurities with their body, none of that. So I ended up getting pregnant with my second daughter on birth control. Terrible.
Right.
I was on birth control, I was on Depo, and still popped up pregnant. Lost everything. So at this point, I went to college, I got a degree, I'm working in my field of choice. I'm living the square life, I'm doing good, and then I pop up pregnant.
So you're like, what I'm going to do now?
So remember, my pregnancies are always high risk because of what I've encountered. So every time it's like I try to get away from that
situation.
Day,
yeah.
It's just a constant reminder that it has some type of stronghold in my life, right? So I get pregnant with my second daughter, but I find out I'm pregnant. I find out I'm having a girl, because it wasn't you're 6 weeks pregnant. No, you're about to be 4 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
You're about to enter your second trimester, and you're dilating. So if you don't quit your job and sit home till you have this baby, you're going to lose this baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, dang, I just got a job. Like, I was transporting with her father, so that's how we met. Like, he was in the streets. He was selling his drugs. I was helping him or whatever. And that was my first, he basically, the term back then, I don't know if they still say it, but he bought me out the closet.
Out the closet? What you mean?
Because remember, I was with women.
Oh, okay.
So that was really like my first situation with a man. But I was dating a girl in Miami who worked for the feds, and I was on my way to join the Army to move to Miami, and then I ended up going to jail. That's a whole nother story. So a whole nother jail story, but it wasn't bad, just the weed man. That's what actually made me move to Atlanta.
Okay.
I was like, I'm getting in too much stuff in New York. Y'all, your environment can and will keep you in bondage. Sometimes you got to know when to pick up and go.
Say it again. Again.
Your environment can and will keep you in bondage. Sometimes you just have to pick up and go.
Right.
I wouldn't be who I am today if I stayed in New York. In New York, I was living a life of crime.
Right.
I had to come to Atlanta. I had to basically go somewhere where nobody knew me. Nobody knew my past. I wasn't triggered walking down the block. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the same environments of everything that I'm telling you. Like, I could be downtown having a good old time, and I'm walking past the group home, or it was just always something. And I'm just like, man, I just need a fresh start. And that's what prompted my move to Atlanta.
So go ahead. Finish telling me, what did surgery, like what brought surgery about?
Okay, so I ended up getting pregnant on birth control, and I lost everything. I had to quit my job. I had to turn my car in, so I had a repo, whoop whoop, because I didn't have a job. And this is just sitting in this moment right now, it just shows me how, and this is what getting delivered showed me, how God was actually with me throughout everything I went through, because my situations could have been 10 times worse. So even though I went through that, I had to go on welfare, but I met a man when I was 7 months pregnant, and he embraced me as if the baby I was pregnant with was his.
Oh, wow.
So he was from Atlanta. Ain't that crazy for me to end up in Atlanta years later? But he was from Atlanta, going to school in New York. We started dating, and I made him my man. He moved in, was paying my bills, taking care of me, taking care of the kids. Was at the birth, cut the umbilical cord and everything. But it was just in that moment of just losing everything and having to depend on a man.
Right.
You know, and I just was like, this ain't fun. And I just needed a quick way to get some money. So at the time, I had a friend who had just entered the industry. She was doing like
What industry is that?
The Urban Magazine, Strip Club, Buffy the Body, Melissa Ford era.
Okay.
So we're talking like 2014, 2013. And it was really because she got her body done. But I entered, so I got my first gig with my natural body. But, you know, in New York, if you ain't Spanish and thick, you're not getting booked.
Right.
So I already had a disadvantage because I was black. But I was real slim. Nothing like what you see today. But I was I was real slim. I was skinny. No breasts, no nothing. So I was like, you know what? It was really about, okay, if I'm going to be in this industry, I got to do what I got to do to rise in this industry. I had a 5-year plan. And I just was like, I'm never going to have to depend on another man again. And I'm going to use this money and just start businesses and, you know, do X, Y, and Z. Of course, I had a degree. I had certain things. But once you exposed to certain lifestyle,
it's hard to go back to living a normal lifestyle.
Yeah. And then it still would have been hard in New York with 2 kids. Like, my child care alone was $1,000. So even my 9 to 5, that's my whole check.
Right.
So we talking New York, right? So it just was like, okay, I gotta get to the money, and I gotta get to the money fast, but I didn't want to have to worry about going to jail.
Right.
So
you got what did you get done?
So at the time I got at this point in time I had got illegal butt injections. So my last round I ended up going into a coma and I was pronounced dead.
What?
So that was my first encounter with God. Listen, y'all, it's about to get spicy. Like, mind you, I'm in a space of still being traumatized from my past. My mom didn't really want to hear it, even though, like, I would feel him at times, but I would, you know,
shun it off.
Yeah, like, yeah. But no, that was an encounter.
Why 12 rounds?
Greed.
You felt like it just wasn't.
The more I was getting, the more money I was making. So.
Right. So
it was just being in the moment. And as I'm where I'm at now, these are just all things the enemy was using to keep me bound. And yeah, it was supposed to kill me.
But it didn't.
It was supposed to kill me.
It was supposed to take you out.
Yep. God will use what the enemy uses
for evil.
For evil, God will use for his glory.
Yes,
so
he will. Yes,
that's
he will.
That's a part of my story. Like, listen, that's when I seen the true power of God. Anyone in my life at the time, that's when they seen the true power of God. The people in the hospital, you know, it was just a lot. So I had my encounter. And in my encounter, you know how they be like, never, I'm not going to sit here and say I saw Jesus, but I felt him. So you know how they be like, when you see the light, run from the light? I was running because I saw the light. I'm running. And it was like, no matter how fast I would try to run, I wasn't moving nowhere. And it was just like, you know how when you could feel, that's like if your back is turned and I come in your room and you could sense the presence of somebody in your room, that's what it felt like. And it was like, no matter how far I tried to run, it was just like it got closer and closer and closer. And then it was all just visuals. So he showed me my kids in 5 years had he taken me right then and there. And my daughters were angry. It was like the cycle just...
repeated cycle.
Repeating itself, you know, with the anger, the bitterness. And that term, generational curses, is so real.
Oh, yes.
It's so real. But I saw it. And I was like, God, I'm sorry. Like, no, like I gotta make it back home. Like, I gotta make it to my daughters. And I just was like, Lord, I promise I'll change my life, or I'll do this and I'll do that. And then I woke up.
How long did they tell you were out?
I was in a coma for 3 days. But I didn't really ask questions. It was more so me trying to process the moment, because when I woke up, it was a priest over my body. So, it was
what
just...
What caused it? Was it that it was poison that they had put into your body?
The thing with the silicone injection, well, I thought I was getting hydrogel. When I did my research, hydrogel is water-based. Our body is mainly composed of water. So if it's real hydrogel that they're using to inject you, there's no way you're going to have a response. What happened was I actually got sick as soon as she injected me. As soon as she injected me, I started coughing. What happened was she pierced near like a vein or something, and it was actually silicone, and the silicone traveled into my bloodstream, and it took a couple of days for the symptoms to worsen, like as I was going to the emergency room, because I probably went to the emergency room 3 times before I just slipped.
Did you tell them like I had illegal butt injections?
So no, I didn't tell them because I wasn't. It felt more like a virus. You know how when you get like a real bad cold and you out, that's what it felt like. But then I started having trouble breathing. My daughter saved my life.
Wow.
So I went to the emergency room twice. They kept sending me home with antibiotics. You know, of course it takes time to work, but after them first couple of pills, you feel the difference. I was getting worse. And I kept going back, and I'm like, listen, something's not wrong. Right. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I couldn't breathe sitting up. Like, I had to lay down. And I'll never forget the day, my oldest daughter, I was like, listen, take care of your sister. I'm going to take a nap. And I'm falling asleep as I'm talking to her. She called my mom, and she was like, I'm scared. Mommy's white. My mom ended up calling the ambulance, and when the ambulance came and got me, by the time we made it to the hospital, that's when I slipped into the coma. Ooh. So had my daughter never had called my mom, I would have died.
Wow. So, did you have them removed?
Yeah, so I actually just went through that process in 2021. So that was filmed. That was on TV.
Okay.
So people that's kind of been following me like the past 2-3 years, they know about that journey. But I was sick for years. So I thought after I went through that experience that I was good. Like, no, like I moved to Atlanta. I woke up in 2017, just couldn't walk. They told me that if I ever wanted to walk again, I would need to get surgery on my knees. I'm walking, y'all, no surgery. So it's just, even with that situation, let's go back to the hospital. So when I vowed to God I was going to change my life, when I came out the hospital, by the time I get home, there's an eviction letter on my door. So I was like, well, God, I guess you want me to still be a hoe. Excuse my language, but that's what it was, right? So I went right back to what I was doing.
And at that time, you were doing videos and stuff.
So at this time, I was in the clubs. I had a sugar daddy. I was a video vixen. I had just did the Troy Ave video. So this is when Troy Ave, who's a rapper from New York, when he first came out. So I was, I was like on set with Jadakiss. So I had a name, and it was right before Chinks God died, rest in peace. I met him. He came to my club, and I was the bartender and the waitress for his section. So I was around money.
Yeah. So okay. So you was like what do they call it?
I was a waitress.
Oh, okay.
I was a waitress and a bartender. So it was just more so somebody reached out to me, girl, you got that look, come to my club. And that was my first booking. So at the time, I'm living with the dude that we're together. He only knew me for being home. So when I had my daughter and I started getting my body done and I started hosting and started doing all these things, he couldn't take it. He was just like, no, I just want you to stay home. And I'm just like, that's never been me. But that's in the moment you met me because of my situation.
Right.
So we was together maybe like 2.5 years, but his mother and father was married and his mom was a housewife the whole marriage. And I just was like, that ain't me. Like he wanted me to move to Atlanta and I just was like, I ain't leaving New York. Like this is home, you know? But yeah.
So so doing the video and everything, so you had vowed to God that you was gonna change, but then you felt like I got an eviction notice, I gotta get money. And
I didn't feel favored by God anyway. I just felt like, when am I gonna be able to breathe? I was young. Like I was from going through what I was going through back home to now this. I'm not, and oftentimes when we go through things, we only focus on the bad. We don't look at the good. So I'm just looking at, dang, I got this eviction letter, but I'm not even remembering he just saved my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm so focused on the monetary stuff, on the things of this earth. I'm not even embracing the fact that, girl, you're alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We overlook our blessings because we be too caught up in the stress and the worry or what we don't have.
But see, it's because the
have.
enemy is very strategic. He knows your heart. And
yes,
that's why even when getting saved, even when having an encounter with Christ, or even just being a believer, that's why it's so important to keep your heart pure. Because that very heart would be what he uses to control you if your heart is after the wrong things.
Right.
And my heart was after the wrong things.
The money.
The money.
The greed. The lifestyle.
The everything. But in my defense back then, I was just it was that moment of fear of not being able to take care of my children. So
And
I
tell me
vowed
something.
I would never.
Right, and I want to say this: fear, FEAR acronym, either can make you forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Yes.
So that acronym, the way you played on that, again, let me say that: fear, forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And you chose to rise.
I was running.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was rising.
Yeah.
I was rising because it was money involved. It was my status involved. It was I could walk down the street and people know who I am involved. But I was running from God.
Right. And then so tell me now, she died that day to become her. Who is her?
Oh, that ain't the day she died, honey.
No?
Girl, I moved to Atlanta and got even more turned up. That is not the day I died, girl.
Wait, I thought the coma,
No.
I thought the coma was it.
No, the coma was the beginning. Because again, the enemy just played on my fear. My fear is always not being able to provide for my kids.
Right.
So every time I got that strength to follow God, something
will
will happen that will have to do with me not being able to provide for my kids. So the me wanting to follow God will go out the window because now I got to get this money. And that's exactly what I told God. God, I'm sorry, but I got to go get this money.
Right. So when you got to Atlanta, you got even more turned up.
Girl, first of all, I came to Atlanta to be a square. I just got word that my baby
Girl,
father...
there's no such thing as coming to Atlanta to be a square.
I didn't know.
You picked the wrong city, honey. You picked the wrong city. I don't know where that myth is. Because
So let me tell you, in my defense, I was like, okay, I'm tired of the streets. I'm tired of hustling. I'm going to just go to work my 9 to 5, come home. And I actually secured a job out here before I moved out here. I had a case management job, but then I also started working at Blue Flame. So I secured both before working out here. Exactly. You know.
Yeah. The
Hey,
flame.
Mike.
Yeah.
But so what happened was I had to do a background check for both, but the job never called me back.
And the Blue Flame did.
And Blue Flame did.
Of course it did.
So I went to the Flame, and I'm making $2,000-3,000 a night, not a night, a week. As a bartender, I ain't stripping. Job what? And I
Yeah.
just got turned up in the Atlanta nightlife. Like, I'm talking about from the Flame, even how I got, like, God was trying to snatch me out, and the devil was just giving me the key, like, here. Like, every time he tried to take me out, the enemy, and then I was so confusing blessings, because the devil answer prayers too.
Right.
That's why you got to be careful how you pray. Because if you're not praying for God's will and you're saying, I will do anything for, guess who you praying to when you say, I will do anything for? Because now that opportunity is going to be presented, but it's going to come at a cost. And that's where that term sell your soul come from.
Girl, so that was a lot. So you start making $2,000-3,000 a week.
Yes.
And that just...
I forgot about the job. I didn't need a job.
Yeah.
I was in the club. And that don't
Yeah.
even count the money I was getting from the encounters,
Bookings.
the people I was encountering and stuff like that. So I got fired. That's a whole another story. Out of hate, because I replaced the manager. They was looking for a younger look. They still had one of the managers behind the bar. And then I just bounced around, but I got really lit when I started working at Follies.
Oh, Follies was in Buckhead at the time.
No, Follies is in, I think, Buford.
Okay.
Like further out that way. Yup. Girl, they was coming to see who that waitress was.
Really?
And let me tell you something. And now that I think about it, and I've always said this though, but that incident with my knee is what prevented me from stripping.
Oh, because they were saying you wouldn't be able to walk.
Yeah. So even now, I still don't have 100% mobility in my knee.
Oh, wow.
I end up finding out that was still because I had more silicone, because of the silicone. So it started taking mobility in certain parts of my body. So that's what prompted me to get the removal. But when I started working at Follies, I had so much people that was like, I'll give you $5,000 right now if you just get on stage.
Really?
So I know if I didn't have knee problems, I would have turned
been
into
on
a strip.
stage,
I would have been
yeah.
on stage.
And that would have turned into a whole nother...
Girl.
So y'all hear this, right? Y'all hear the dangers of the injections.
Yes.
Still years later, even
Yep.
though you started having them, have you been able to get it all removed, or you still have to, it's a process?
I got majority of it removed. In 2021, I went to Colombia and I did a 15-hour surgery.
You was under for 15 hours? Wow.
But I prepped my body real good. I was doing like iron IVs and everything else. And, you know, they're real good out there with the removals. So I told my doctor, like, listen, I'm giving you my consent because I didn't want to come back 2-3 times.
Yeah, I heard it's a doctor out there that's really good.
It's a few of them, but there's also a doctor out there that's killing people. So,
oh, wow.
matter of fact, a girl had died a week before I went for my removal. She went for her removal, and she died on the table. So I was like,
a little leery.
And that fear, like I'm talking about, I heard the enemy telling me I was going to die, like walking, like after I changed my clothes, walking to the table to lay down. It was crazy. Like, listen, I wouldn't wish that journey on my worst enemy, okay?
Was it a lot of pain recovering or no?
It wasn't even the pain because I stood on medication. I didn't even give myself the chance to feel the pain. It was more so about the inconvenience. Because it was my butt, I had to do everything like laying face down. My Uber rides to get massages, I had to be in the Uber laying face down.
And how long was you like that? How long did it
like
take before
like,
you was able to sit like on your butt again?
Like 2-3 months. 2-3 months. So I needed help with my kids. My mom had my kids. She came down, stood with us for like 30 days. But it took me a while to get back, and then I was still filming TV at that time.
Oh,
so.
You didn't tell us about that. Tell us about being on TV.
Girl, so we done skipped the whole. So what prompted me getting saved and turning my life over was my ex helped me at gunpoint. So at this point, you know they say you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I was living by men and money. And God was showing me, like, this how you gonna die if
Living
you keep
by
playing.
money.
Yeah. So I ain't tell y'all also, one of my baby fathers, I ain't gonna tell you which one, had my apartment shot up.
Because he was mad. Yeah, about you. He didn't want you to have a baby.
No. He didn't want me snitching on him during that case.
Oh, okay.
So that was just, we was co-defendants. But it was just like, I'm so used to the trauma bonds, for me, it's normal at this point,
right?
You know, but now it's like getting physical. Now it's like my life is in danger. But I was dating this scammer from Chicago. I should have knew he was crazy when he told me he was on the run for shooting at police. Not on the run, but he was fighting a case for shooting at police. But we dated.
But you like, oh no, I like him. Oh,
I like, he gonna shoot for me.
He hard. He got hard.
Yes, but I ain't even gonna say too much because God delivered me from that. Amen, hallelujah. But long story short, he went through my phone, got upset, beat me up like I was a man in the street, and pulled my own gun on me.
You would beat up bad?
That girl. I'm talking about I'm the hottest thing walking around, and I went from hiding in my house because my face was messed up. And then, short little dude, shorter than me, way shorter than me, had me like this. And you know how you could look in a person's eye and see it ain't them?
Yeah. He hadn't snapped.
Girl.
Went somewhere else, yeah.
Oh, listen. And I know God was tired of saving me, so in that moment, I didn't even say, God help me. My kids was home. I was like, Lord, just take care of my daughters for me. Like, I accepted my fate that, okay, this man's going to kill me. It's over.
The kids
it's
was
done.
there when it happened?
No, the kids was at the house.
Oh, okay, and you was somewhere with him. Okay.
Yeah, we had money. We had, even though it was over, we were starting a restaurant together, so we had to meet up with the restaurant owners and just put the menu and stuff together. And he realized I wasn't crying and just doing certain things, and he went through my phone. And in one of my DMs, it was somebody that, big time, shot caller that was like, yo, let me fly you out. I miss you. I was like, when? So he read that. And, men don't be tripping until they go see what that other man about. So he went to the dude page, seen the real estate, seen the money, seen the cars. I told you, don't play with me. And the next thing I know, I'm just getting beat on. Like, it happened so fast. And then I had my gun right here. Because, he a street dude. So he taught me how to shoot. We was always in the gun range. So I started carrying the gun and all of that. He pulled my gun out on me.
And was like, I'll kill you.
He was like, I told you, like, if you play with me, I will kill you. And it was in that moment when I looked in his eyes. And it was kind of like the devil was laughing at me, like, ha, 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 got you.
Got you again.
And I was like, dang. I was like, you know what, God, I ain't even going to ask you to save me out of this one, because every time I ask you to save me and you save me, and I'll be like, I ain't going to do it, I do it again.
And do it worse.
So I was just like, all right, I ain't prayed, none of that. Like, I just was like, Lord, just make sure my daughter is good. By the grace of God, I got out of there, and I was like, yo, I got to change my life.
Right.
I got to change my life. But it wasn't even just that. I was tormented. I'm talking about I had to get an order of protection. Like, this dude knew where I lived at. Like, he on the run for police. Not on the run, but he shot at police. So, you know, he don't care.
Right.
There's no in his blood. Like, and it was just like every day he like, 1 minute he gonna kill me. The next minute he FaceTiming me with 50,000. What you want? Let's go shopping. I'll buy you a house. I'll buy you a car.
And you would fall into that trap.
Listen, so what happened was I met another dude that was from LA. He was a roller 60s. And when I left my ex, I had went to the club with someone. We wasn't even dating. He was a business partner. And my ex and his friends jumped the dude. So I'm like, all right, this is too much. Like, I was just tormented. I couldn't sleep.
And you was on TV at this time?
No. So this was before that. Then I meet the Rolling 60s dude. You know, me and him start kicking it. But, you know, my ex that helped me at gunpoint, he mobbed the Rolling 60s. So it was like some mob ties and all type of weird stuff. So they couldn't really pop off without permission, all that, whatever. But I felt safe with him because my ex ain't tried him how he tried everybody else. Yeah. So I'm really chilling with this dude just so I can move around, club every night. Yeah. He get crazy on me. I was like, okay, Lord, I'm coming.
God, I'm tell you something.
I'm coming. And I got delivered. And not even 30 days later, I started dating my most recent ex. So I'm thinking it's God sent because I'm like, okay, we've been friends for 3 years, you know. It took me getting delivered for him to pursue me, but that was really the enemy. Because even though I wasn't, how can I say this? Even though I wasn't doing what I was doing, I still was being disobedient and dishonoring God.
Still had it in your heart, like you said.
Not even I had it in my heart. Is this time it came dressed up. And this is why I say you gotta be careful what you pray for, because everything I prayed for in that relationship, I got. I didn't pray for respect. I didn't pray for love. I didn't pray for those type of things. The things that I prayed for, that's exactly what I got. But it was really a way to trick me back into not so much that lifestyle, but the TV lifestyle. And
so
we
talk
all
about
know
that. TV, so what show was it? And
it was Black Ink.
Okay.
But I wasn't
Atlanta or New York?
New York. But I wasn't even gonna do that. It was a situation, and they basically told me, like, I would get to tell my side, and that's how I got conned into doing that. So it was just, every time you think you got it under control, or every time I thought I had it under control and try to operate in my own strength, the enemy would beat me out of what I thought I had under control. So that ended up being a whole situation. I ended up smoking again, clubbing again, doing all the things I left alone after I got delivered. Next thing you know, things are spiraling out of control. I'm going through depression. I'm going through all type of stuff. My ex done sold me out. So, like, it was a lot. It's too much I can't really talk about. You know, we end up having a gag order each other because it got a little crazy. But God just kept showing me, like, I'm not going to leave you alone.
Right.
Like, no matter how hard.
Chased you down?
Oh, girl, listen. Because my main thing was, I fixed his credit. I got that house. I ain't leaving. Like, you know what it is to have a pastor come to your house and tell you they cannot bless your house because the presence of God is not in your house?
Woo! Wow.
So in that season, that was my, I love the Lord. Don't say that. And I can't say too much. But that was and the pastor was like, you know what? I'm not going to bless this house, but I'm going to bless your mind. Because the enemy got your mind so bad that you thinking you are not going to survive without this man. You were thinking that you were going to be nobody without this man. You know, at the time, you know, I helped him buy a house. We living together. We doing certain things. And I'm, you know, pride. I'm not letting this go like I did this, you know. And God was like, okay. So the house is keeping you bound. Guess what happened, girl?
Lost the house.
4 men come to the crib with guns trying to kick our door down, trying to rob us. So we ended up moving.
Got you out of that house.
Got me out the house.
Yeah.
Okay, since you're not going to willingly leave, I'm going to force you out. But that was like the main thing keeping me bound. And then, you know, after my surgery, he wasn't there for me and allowed TV to spin it a whole different way. It was just a lot that I went through mentally. And I just got tired of playing. I was like, yo, this, like, I'm seeing what he's saving me from with me being disobedient. So I can only imagine how my life is going to be once I surrender.
And what is your life like now?
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Suzette The Realtor. Listen, and I've only been saved for a year. I found a good church home. I published my book.
Right. She had
to die to become her.
Yes.
I'm getting booked, paid bookings to talk about the power of Jesus Christ and transformation in my life. I'm capped out as a real estate agent, so I'm doing real estate full time. That's not something I was doing. I was licensed in 2019, but it was like, God did not, no matter how much money I made, and I made good money being on TV, but he would not allow me to thrive. Because had he had done that, the enemy would have got all the glory.
Right.
I just bought my first house.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Built it from the ground up.
Oh, wow, that's
and
big.
This was, at that time, I couldn't even get an apartment in my name.
And how old are you?
I'm 36.
That's good. Yeah, 36.
So just bought
built
my
from
first
the ground.
house, just bought another car.
Okay. Big things popping, little things happen. Okay.
Listen, so and all of this happened in a year. The year that after I gave him my yes, like I had
your sincere yes.
A sincere yes. Like,
yes.
you know what? I surrendered to you. And the church home was important, the impartation, because I had to get baptized twice. So my first baptism, I wasn't around the right people. They had me convinced that I could still be of this world and serve Jesus. Like, I left my baptism and got drunk.
Oh, wow.
I was still fornicating.
Yeah.
It was certain things that I was
You
still.
celibate now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got a special man in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really showing out. Like, I can't even talk about the grace, and it's a lot. It's certain things that I still can't even process. But I hear him now. I hear him clearly. Like, I live an active life of fasting, so I'm fasting every single week, and that's kind of how I keep my flesh at bay. Because, you know, we all, and it's so crazy because I still get, like, hit up to do certain things, and I'm just like.
And you don't let the money pull you over there.
Girl, I don't even live for the money no more. And ever since I stopped living for the money is coming to me. So,
yep,
I'm
have
no
to
longer
read this
bound.
again because this is just so powerful to me. Fear, your acronym for fear. It either can make you forget everything and run or face everything and rise. So you faced everything and you rise. Yeah.
Because I started to fear God.
Yes.
I started to fear God because I would see his wrath, but then I also see his love. Like, girl, I could have killed you here. I could have killed you here. I could have had this happen to you. And then when I got delivered, they showed me that in every area that I thought God wasn't with me, I'm talking about from my childhood down to the stuff that happened with my mom. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation.
I know, say it again.
It's not punishment, it's preparation.
Yeah.
So now it's like, you know, I'm coaching other women through the same thing. Like, you see how you called me like, hey, girl, you know, like I just was in South Carolina, did an event in South Carolina. Girl, my best friend is a minister. Like, if that ain't change, like, I went from having stripper best friends to my best friend being a minister, you know? And again, this is all, even our friendship, like, God ordained.
Wow. Yeah, because I didn't know how I know y'all are best friends, but I didn't know how y'all became best friends. God. But it's just amazing how God has took your whole entire life.
In a year.
And turned it completely around.
I'm shook.
And you still look good.
I'm shook.
You still that girl.
I'm shook.
But you're that girl, you know, with God.
With substance.
Yeah.
With morals.
Right.
With values.
Yeah. And a lot of women, and I'm glad that you're here and that they can see. Like, it's okay to be a bad chick and just still be sold out for God. Like, it's cool. You know what I mean? It's the way. Like, I'm still popping.
I'm so sensitive right now. I don't listen to secular music like that. I'm just learning about a lot. I'm learning about, like, covenants and curses, and I'm learning how to actually demand. Like, you see my daughter, my 16-year-old, she powerful. My 16-year-old just let us in prayer, y'all.
Right. Yes, she did.
So when you have kids, your kids go through everything with you. So everything that I'm telling you I've encountered and experienced, my daughter was right there with me.
Right.
From the time I had her on the show till now. So a lot of times, parents, when you have kids and your kids are going left, a lot of times our life is not the example of how we're trying to raise our kids. So if you're telling your kid to do this and do that, but your life is not reflecting what you're teaching your kids, it's hard for them to listen.
Right.
So with my daughter, I don't gotta beat it in her. She sees
the transition.
Like, just a year ago, I was holding you on the floor because you surrendered to God. Surrendered meaning I walked away from TV. I walked away from my
you just walked away?
I called the producer and I was like, I can't do this. I'm getting baptized.
Cold turkey.
Cold turkey. But he was showing me, like, you keep picking flesh over me. And what you're putting over me doesn't really value you, doesn't really care about you the way I cared about you. So it was just certain things I was seeing in the spirit. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, I can't run no more because I'm going to die. Like, I seen me dying. Right. Like, dead. And remember, my fear has always been my kids,
being motherless.
Right. Encountering the abandonment and the hurt and the pain that I've had to encounter. Like, good thing I was in a group home, but if something happened to me, ain't no telling where they're going to go. Right.
And not get that same love. Yeah.
I could have forget everything and run, which is what I was doing. But I had to stand up and just pretty much just face it and rise and do the right thing and just trust God. But it really was a lot because when I left, I had $300 in my pocket. Nobody know that.
You left TV, walked away with $300.
$300 in my pocket.
And just said, I'm going to trust God.
I'm going to trust God. Because the money had me so bound. I'm talking about I was suicidal and didn't even know why. I had to stop walking around with my gun because, and this was during the process when I was writing my book, the warfare was so real that I woke up one day to kill myself. This was just a year ago. And it wasn't that I was suicidal in the flesh, like I want to take me out, like I want to die. It was the enemy was trying so hard to stop me from getting my story out.
Baby, let me tell you
because
something.
when you silent, he controls you.
Right. You see what happened today. You see what happened today. No lie, y'all. I can't make this up. Our cameras are like good cameras, Sony cameras, top of the line cameras. The cameras literally went out 3 times.
3 times.
I've never had this to happen. And I was just like, do you mind? Could we get the kids something to eat? Like, I knew we had to get this finished. Yeah. But before we go, tell me this. You have to tell me, this Break Free podcast. Tell me one thing that you feel like you need to break free from.
Right now?
Yeah.
That I need to break free from? Wow. Right now. Damn, why you put me on the spot like that?
It's not the spot. It's the question of the pot. I like that. It's break free.
One thing I need to break free from, my response.
Okay.
I'm still, despite how mature I may seem in the faith, I'm still somewhat new. And this is why community is so important. So when you have a best friend, when you're in church, So I'm learning because I give. Complaining is to the devil what worship is to God. So when you complain, you're educating the enemy on how to keep on attacking you.
That's good.
So unlike God, who is omnipresent, meaning he's everywhere, the enemy is not. You have to verbalize and say certain things for the enemy to be educated on how to attack you. This is why your words are very powerful. Because once it comes out, you're either giving life or death to a situation. So that's what I had to learn.
To break free from.
To stop speaking like, dang, I'm never going. And it just be regular lingo. Like
earlier, you was like, the mood, you said, my mood, I need to, or I want to get. I was like, no, you want to change that to
so
I am.
So that's something I'm like, in my walk, still processing. But even like when the enemy knocked me down, like I'm so emotional. I be like, God, you ain't take me through all of this. And T be like, girl, if you don't put your big girl panties on, like, no, stop letting the enemy have his way with you. Demand your authority.
That's
so
right.
I'm learning how to all right, I'm gonna try my tears, but yeah. Like, you ain't stopping nothing over here. So that's where I'm at, breaking free from, because I've been through so much trauma. So it's like when something happened, it's like, oh my God, it's over.
Take you back.
And it's like, no, if something happened, I still gotta believe. I still gotta stand strong and stand tall in my faith and what I believe, because everything is a test.
It sure is. Well, I want to thank you again for coming. I enjoyed you today. I know it was a long process, child, for this taping, but I know that people are going to be inspired. Definitely. I know that some young woman is going to be free because of your boldness, because of your tenacity, and I know that even an older woman is going to be inspired, you know?
I get that all the
so
time.
I just thank you, and I bless you. I pray that God continues to give you exceedingly abundantly more than you can ask, think, or imagine. This is the Turn Up 2024, baby. We coming through.
And I will say, y'all, it's so much more to my story, but I couldn't, we on a time limit. Yeah. So check out my book. Like,
make sure you get the book.
She had to die to become her, but principles to go from bondage to breakthrough, right? So this book, it does touch on my story, but it's also gonna help you get through what you're going through. My story is just the proof that if I could do it, you can do it too.
That's right. Now tell them where to follow you.
My Instagram, Suzette The Realtor, Suzette, SUZETTE _ The Realtor. That's really the only social media sites I be on like that is Instagram. And then once you find my Instagram, you'll have my number, my email, my website, and everything else, all my contact information.
And they could get the link is in the bio on Instagram?
Yep, the link is in the bio. If you're looking to purchase a house in the state of Georgia with little to no money down or no credit score, I got the programs for you, so reach out.
You the girl for it.
I'm the girl for it.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, it's always delusion until they see it happen. I'll see y'all next time.
That's good.
Yeah, it's delusion, baby. You know, people think you crazy, you delusional until they see it happen.